And we are live. I think we're live. How you doing? Mike here, and welcome to tonight's edition of the Ask Mike YouTube Live. This is the, I don't know, the second one or the third one or something. So hopefully it's coming through. I haven't checked it on my computer tonight, so hopefully you're getting it. Yeah, it seems to be happening now. So hopefully you can see it, and that's cool. And as it should be, that's great. So welcome to the tonight's live. I'm Mike Blissett, and I'm a coach, trainer, and speaker, as you probably know. And this channel is all about sharing ideas, tools, and techniques to help you make better video, speak with more confidence to video, and then equally use video to grow your business. So I put out a request on my newsletter this week, a PS at the end of my newsletter this week, asking for if they had any questions for tonight's call, and I got a bunch of replies back. And so if you're one of those people and you're watching this live, thank you. If you're watching this on replay or catch up, equally thank you. And I think the one theme going through, not everyone, but most of the questions, the one I'm going to cover tonight is this area of confidence. Why not everyone feels confident when you speak up. And it's interesting. I speak up. I do speak up training. It's called Speak Like a Pro. Obviously, my presentation is called Training, and my course Speak Like a Pro online is along the same lines, but to camera. And it's this one theme that goes through all of that: confidence. Otherwise, people who are confident in other areas of their life, for example, at work or with friends or socially, put them in front of a group of people and say, present something or speak to them, or equally put them in front of a camera and say, do that. And then suddenly the confidence goes absent without leave, AWOL, as I would say. And so it's kind of a theme that goes through most of what I do. And I kind of recognize it because, as you know, I used to stammer really badly. And I used to be very, very nervous kind of growing up, and even into my 20s. And it was only through those years as a singer that I was lucky enough along the way to learn how to feel more confident in front of groups of people, whether that's on stage or equally nowadays to camera as well. And I'm still on stage sometimes. I don't sing to people so much anymore. I still do sometimes, but now it's mostly professional speaking and training. But equally here is, of course, speaking to camera. I'm doing it live tonight. I make videos every week for this YouTube channel and other social media platforms as well. So these confidence building skills, they work for me. A kid who was really shy and who used to stammer, and so that's why I think I can certainly recognize when people share their own. Whether it's a limiting belief or insecurity or just nervousness, shyness of speaking, particularly as what we're talking about tonight, to camera. So I'm going to run through kind of just a list I kind of wrote up before I came to this call, because I want to, rather than rehash what maybe I've included before, or maybe what you've seen out there before, about building confidence when you speak, like breathing deeply and projecting your voice, and that's all good stuff, and we need all that. I think there is some. I just wanted to add some extra value, and so in no particular order, or maybe there is an order. I have no idea. But what I've written down is, number one, when you're going to give a presentation, when you are, whether that's to a group of people, whether it's at work, or whether it is to camera like this, I think it's a really good idea to plan what you're going to say. And that sounds really obvious, but the amount of times that I've heard people say, it's okay, I'll just wing it. Going into an important meeting, or they're on a conference call, or they're doing a video link with somebody in another country, or maybe they're giving a presentation, or they have to even do a sales pitch, and they haven't maybe done some research or any research, and they say, it's okay, I'll just wing it. And I tell you, that's almost like saying they're rolling the dice. You know, they really are leaving it up to chance. And when you leave things up to chance, you really are kind of undermining your own sense of self-confidence that you can actually deliver that presentation. So that's why I say that I think really planning what you're going to say is massively important. So obviously you would have a subject, you hopefully know what you're going to talk about, and it really is about, you know, planning what you're going to say. As always, I've written a checklist here. I write, as you can see, bullet points. Some people write verbatim, you know, like little scripts or big scripts of what they're going to say, and they'll read it over and over and over again. And sometimes people read from things like teleprompters, and you know, I've done that before, and I know newsreaders and a lot of presenters do that, and there's a time and a place, and so long as you can still make that sound and be natural for you, then that's okay. But I think teleprompter is almost like it adds an extra level of difficulty, in that you have to learn not only how to read a teleprompter, but how to still be natural when you're reading from a teleprompter, and that can take some practice and some training as well. So I think from where I'm coming from, as I say, I've tried both. I've tried reading, just memorizing scripts when I used to learn scripts, and then equally reading scripts from teleprompters, and then just as I do now, just learning from bullet points and just rehearsing it. And so that's the first step, is just to plan what you're going to say in advance of saying it, rather than just winging it, which I think everybody can spot. That's what's actually happening. The second point is really, it follows on from the first. I mentioned this thing about research, and what I mean by that is really know your subject. When you are asked to present on something, or when you choose to present on something, know something about it. You know, whether it's your own personal interest or whether you've done some research, and Google is a great research tool nowadays. Just know what you're going to talk about, whether that's mapping it out. As I mentioned previously, I write kind of bullet points. So I've got a flow of what I do. Some people write things like mind maps, and they follow those either in the mind or written down. Some people have slides. You know, whatever tools you have, really research what you're going to say, plan it, and then really, as I say, know what you're talking about, know your subject. That will give you innate confidence just by itself. And then the next point, I've mentioned this several times, I'm going to continue mentioning it, is to rehearse. There is no substitute for that. You can't get away from rehearsal. Well, you can wing it. You can roll the dice. You can just say you're going to do it, and you know that's okay. But you know, I think probably everybody can spot when you have rehearsed something. And all I can say is, people in the theatre and on TV and in movies, well, not necessarily movies because it's recorded, but people on TV, people live on stage, training or entertainment or whatever, when they just kind of get up and it looks spontaneous, it looks natural, it looks easy, it just looks like throwaway, like it's just coming off the top of their head. The reason they can do that is by the amount of rehearsal that they've done previously. The more they rehearse, the more that it becomes natural, it becomes second nature. It just becomes like throwaway off the top of the head. And from your point of view, from the viewer's point of view, it just looks effortless. And that's when you're a real professional. I think it was Malcolm Gladwell mentioned, I can't remember the book now, one of his books about, he estimated suggested how many hours it might take to, before you actually become an expert in something, and he suggested the number of around 10,000 hours. Now, I don't know whether it's 10,000 hours of rehearsal, or I have no idea, but all I can say is, as an ex-singer, as someone who used to perform, and I still perform, I do training events. I spent half the day today learning a new intro piece for a training I'm doing at the weekend. And it's not just a day, I'll be repeating that over several days, just so that when it comes to delivering it, it looks as effortless as it possibly can be, and nobody there will ever imagine that it's the first time I've actually said it, in front of a group of people. That's what rehearsal does for you. Equally, before this or before any video that I ever make, there is rehearsal before any webinar. And so I think it's a good habit for you to get into. I think all of these tips, I guess I'm looking at them, I think most of them are pretty obvious, but I think sometimes it's the obvious things that we kind of, we don't give ourselves time to do, or we forget to do, or we put it off and then we run out of time. And so we just wing it. And so I think just reminding ourselves and in this list, I'm reminding you of some of these it's almost like best practice, top tips, is useful. So rehearse. There can never be enough rehearsal. The next point is to, if you can try out your presentation, what you're going to say in front of somebody else. So whether it's a partner or a friend, a colleague, and it could be just trying it out in front of them, or it could be that you record it to your phone or your camera, whatever you're using, and then showing it to someone and just seeing, not necessarily for them to critique it, but just to see how it lands for them. If they're obviously, glazing over and bored, or if they kind of give you some really nice comments afterwards saying, "Oh, that was great. Wow." Even, sometimes I've got friends, I've got some friends overseas. I won't say which country because I know who they are. And they always make fun of me in the way that I introduce my video, "Hey, Mike," and all this kind of stuff. And for them, it's funny. But what they're really saying is that it's engaging, it's the sweetest thing in the world, for a friend to say. So I think I'd encourage you to try your presentation out on some friends or colleagues at work or something, and just, as I say, not get a critique from them, because I think sometimes to ask people to critique it when they really don't know how to critique it, and they're not an expert in presenting anyway, it can sometimes, what they say can sometimes land badly and possibly hurt or worry you in a situation when there's nothing to worry about. So rather than asking for a critique, just seeing how it lands, getting their reaction when they either listen to you, give your presentation live to them, or watch your video if you've already recorded it, is cool. And also when you're watching it, if it is on video, of course you'll be watching it as well. The next thing is obviously to, I've written down here, do it some more. Basically, the more times you do the presentation, the more times you rehearse it, the more times you go over your plan, know what you're going to say, rehearse it, the better you'll become. And it's kind of, the do it some more is just that keep, rinse and repeat, just keep going it. The more times you do this. I created a talk explaining how I researched and built my online program, Speak Like a Pro Online. And I was asked, the reason I developed the talk was that I was asked to share the process with a group that I'm a member of in London about a year and a half ago. And so I did. I planned the talk and I did some research and I put some pictures, some slides together, and I delivered the talk. And then I was asked to deliver it somewhere else, and then a couple of other places. And I think now I've done the talk about 10 times, 10 or 12 times or something. And there's some other groups that I'm also booked to deliver the talk at. But I can tell you now, even though the actual talk is the same, it's the same theme or territory, how I deliver it and the ease of how I deliver it is completely different, because it's the repetition. The more times you do it, the better you'll get at doing it. And so that's what I mean by keep doing it and do it some more. The next step is to hit record, or if you're doing it on YouTube or Facebook or whatever, live, hit the live button and really do it, because once you've done as much of preparation as you possibly can do, there's no substitute for actually doing it for real, whether that is hitting record and recording your presentation to upload to your platform, to your website, to your blog, to Facebook, to YouTube, Instagram, wherever it is. Or, as I say, going live. There's no substitute for that. And when you do that, you feel after you've actually hit that record button or upload button or go live button or whatever it is, you will get a rush of whether it's euphoria or excitement or slight nervous tingling excitement, and that will boost your confidence. You'll feel so much more confident that you've accomplished something that maybe you were feeling nervous about before. So I think there's no substitute for just hitting record or going live, and actually, as Susan Jeffers said in a very famous book, feel the fear and do it anyway. And then finally, there's just one kind of bonus that I wrote down here that it's kind of what I covered already. I just kind of mentioned it a little bit, in that the more you present, the more you make videos, the more you speak to camera, the more you go live, however you do your speaking, your presentation, the more you do it, the better you'll get at it, the more easy it'll become for you, and the more confident you'll get at it. And so I think that's a good thing. I would also probably just temper that slightly by saying that it is natural to feel a little nervous before you start a presentation, or especially if it's live, but equally when you're recording something and there's maybe nobody else there and you're just recording it to your camera, but knowing it's going to get sent out to your mailing list or to your customers or clients as well, that can make you nervous. And I think having some nerves is actually a useful thing. I think it was Liza Minnelli, the famous singer and actress, many years ago was interviewed. And just one thing she said was that the day that she stops feeling nervous before she goes onto stage is probably the day that she'll give up, she'll retire, because she said for her the nervousness, not the crippling nervousness where you freeze and it's terrible, but I mean, I'd say those tingly kind of excited nerves, you can use that. That can be turned into adrenaline that can help you give a great presentation. And so I think it's not about feeling super confident and having no nerves at all, and just feeling like you can do this anywhere. I think it's good to have some kind of respectful nervousness for the medium that you're using, whether that's talking to camera, whether that's speaking into a microphone to a live audience, however you deliver your content. To have a little bit of nervousness there probably means that you have some respect for your viewer, for your customer, for your audience. But equally, I think the more times you do that, the more confident you will feel as well. So hopefully that has been useful for you. And there was a bunch of people, Leslie, Jack, who else? Nick. Yeah, there's several people. I haven't got them all on my list actually, that emailed me from a mailing list just to give me some ideas what to spend this call talking about. And as I say, the theme going through that was confidence. So I appreciate you being honest with me and getting back to me and sharing that. So if you're watching this, thank you. You gave me this idea. And so for next week's live call, it's going to go out again next Thursday. And I really want to know what you want me to focus on next Thursday. It can be about presentation skills, speaking to camera. You tell me what you want to do. I've mentioned I built that online course, and now I talk to groups and show them how to do this as well. And so whatever within that kind of medium you think would be useful to spend next week's Ask Mike on, just let me know. So you can send me an email. You can go to my website, mikeblister.com, and send me an email that way. If you're on my mailing list, just hit reply here. If you're watching this on YouTube, obviously, just leave a comment in the box below. And however you want to get in touch with me, Facebook message, all the rest of it, there's tons of ways to get in touch with me. Let me know. Equally, let me know how this video has landed for you. And just before I go, question of the day. I've started doing questions of the day. So question of the day is, what one top tip do you have, or have you heard people use that helps them feel more confident when they're giving a presentation or when they're speaking to camera? What's one top tip that you use or you've heard other people use that helps them feel more confident when they're giving a presentation or speaking to camera? So put your replies in the comments box immediately below this video. If you've enjoyed it, please give it a thumbs up, like it, share it with your friends, family, colleagues, all the rest of it. And if you're not yet subscribed to the channel, please consider subscribing. Remember, this channel is all about helping you speak with more confidence. It's about tools, tips, and frameworks to help you speak with more confidence, make better videos, and grow your business online. So until next time, take care.